If you have any doubts that this voter fraud will be uncovered in the weeks to come, keep the faith, America, because Dominion Voting Systems is no longer keeping this a secret. The press conference on Thursday with Trump's lawyers outlined the president's legal challenge to the election results and revealed more information to the public. For example, concrete evidence that people voted twice in Pennsylvania, observers in Philly and Detroit who were not allowed into the counting rooms, and the ties that Dominion has to Venezuela. Rudy Giuliani also made mention of Eric Coomer, the vice president of U.S. engineering at Dominion Voting Systems, who also happens to be an ANTIFA member. According to an article from DC Dirty Laundry, Ethan Huff writes, in a striking interview conducted by Michelle Malkin, Joe Altman of the FEC United reveals how he infiltrated Antifa and how during a conversation with Antifa members, he discovered Eric from Dominion was allegedly part of the chat during the week of September 27, 2020. Altman explained that Eric was telling the Antifa members they needed to keep up the pressure. When one of the callers asked, "Who's Eric?" someone answered, "Eric, he's the Dominion guy." Altman said that as the conversation continued, someone asked, "What are we going to do if effing Trump wins?" Altman paraphrased how Eric responded, "Don't worry about the election. Trump's not going to win. I made effing sure of that."
The Dominion executives are nowhere to be found now. They are moving their offices overnight to different places. Their office in Toronto was shared with one of the Soros entities. One of the leaders of the Dominion project in overall is Lord Malloch Brown, Mr. Soros' number 2 person in the UK. And part of his organization.
The Coomer character, who is close to Antifa, took off all of his social media. But we kept it. We've got it. The man is a vicious, vicious man. He wrote horrible things about the president. He is completely biased. He's completely warped. And he specifically says that they're going to fix this election. I don't know what you need to wake you up to do your job and inform the American people, whether you like it or not, of the things they need to know.
Near the bottom of his rant, Coomer clarifies, "These opinions are rational and completely my own. They are based in reason and highly credible. Though they are not necessarily the thoughts of my employer, though if not, I should probably find another job. Who wants to work for complete morons?" Coomer appears to be trying to cover his tracks. "None of my personal opinions affect my professional conduct or attitudes," adding, "I am nonpartisan." Coomer is one of the few individuals at Dominion who have made their anti-Trump bias well known to the public. Just imagine how many other employees at Dominion are driven by the same intent. Based on Coomer's background, it would be reasonable to assume that companies like Dominion and Smartmatic are recruiting people who are emotionally and politically driven to help steal this election at all costs. Dr. Coomer has quite a meaty career in election systems. He held senior management roles with both Sequoia and Smartmatic. Before joining Dominion as vice president of U.S. engineering, Dr. Coomer was senior information services manager of Smartmatic Corporation and vice president of research and product development for Sequoia Voting Systems. You can read about all of the massive voter irregularities at Sequoia and Smartmatic, particularly in the 2006 elections in Chicago. According to DefendTheVote.com, back in 2016 during a meeting at the Illinois State Board of Elections, Coomer was asked if it was possible to bypass election systems software and go directly to the data tables that manage systems running elections in Illinois. His response was, yes, if they have access. Now, this is a very serious issue all voters should be aware of. Voting systems must be recertified each time changes are made to hardware or software, which is expensive and a time-consuming process. What Dr. Coomer told the board is that Dominion Voting does not go back for recertification of software when threats to their code are discovered. Rather, they rely on post-election audits and providing advice to election jurisdictions about security. All of these recertification documents produced by Dominion have been reviewed, and there was simply no evidence of software adjustments for security purposes. This is the reality of the security of your vote. Software systems that count and record the vote across many places in the US, including, in this case, Illinois, are not updated to address security problems. Our democracy is getting directly tampered with. Sadly, there wasn't enough effort to keep this from happening because Democrats are notorious for voter fraud and being able to get away with it, especially when many of these voting system companies are all complicit in these criminal acts. However, there is a cybersecurity company known as NortonLifeLock, formerly known as Symantec, which stands out from the crowd. Back in 2018, Symantec published a video to warn voters how easy it is for voting systems to be hacked.
In order to develop an environment that allowed us to simulate a real-world voting ecosystem, we ordered a lot of the equipment like an attacker would or someone doing research would. We went to an online auctioning site where we were easily able to purchase an e-voting system from the last election for a few $100s. We also were able to buy the chip cards that are used to be an identifier in the process of e-voting, and we also were able to buy some of the things that program those chip cards. And when you go to the voting machine, you slip in your chip card that's programmed to your election ballot. You put in your card, it asks if this is you, and then you have the opportunity to submit your vote. After you're done, if you were to retry to put in that card to do 2 votes, it would say go back to the polling station because you only allowed 1 vote. Now, if you were equipped with the knowledge of how to program a chip card and you were able to buy one of these for $15 while you're still in that voting booth, you could reset your card on the fly, allowing you to vote more than once. During that voting process, you could hard code a single name. So when that card gets recycled for the rest of that day, everyone that day will be registered as Tim voting over and over and over again.
Democrats have not been good at covering their tracks. When you have deranged Antifa lunatics working for voting system companies and posting hate and vitriol on their social media, as well as Symantec showing you how these voting systems can be easily hacked with a simple chip card, you can tell that these election thieves are no longer hiding anything. Just as an example, if you type antifa.com into your browser, you'll be taken to Joe Biden's donation page on his official website. It's no longer about keeping everything secret, and we now see in this insane year of 2020 that conspiracy theories are no longer conspiracy theories. Their attitude is, we are going to steal this election. We have the power of the establishment, which includes the mainstream press, social media, the intelligence community, the help of George Soros and other globalists, a slew of foreign interests and voting technology that allows us to directly change the votes. We're going to cheat, and even if you find out and we go to court, we are going to continue lying, cheating, and denying the facts. Because Trump is an anti-establishment president, they think they can render him incapable of doing anything about this election theft. Wait till they find out what's in store for them.
This is stunning, heartbreaking, infuriating, and the most unpatriotic acts I can even imagine for people in this country to have participated in any way, shape, or form. And I want the American public to know right now that we will not be intimidated.